But did you see the differences or similarities between India and Pakistan? Let's talk about that.
Yeah. Differences and similarities. I mean, kind of what I just described. I think India is more chaotic. India's bigger. India has more stuff inside of it. There's more like regions and,
Cultures as well.
Separate cultures. And India feels like many countries kind of in one country that have a lot in common. People are very proud of their area of India.
Yeah.
And they want you to come not to India, they want you to come to their area of India.
Communities. And all
Communities,
these things.
yeah.
They do exist in Pakistan as well. If we talk
Of course.
Of course. Again, oh my God. Things get very confusing when I talk about India and Pakistan differences and similarities. People think like, oh, so the communities doesn't exist in Pakistan? Of course it does. But we are talking about the comparison.
As listeners, your listeners need to, have some critical thinking skills, and they're responsible for their own critical thinking skills, not to take everything as an extreme and not to take everything as an attack and not to be defensive, right? That's like not our responsibility as people talking to have to defend any sentence. We say like anyone at home listening should work on critical thinking skills and not being defensive.
Critical thinking is an important thing. I recently made a reel about critical thinking because it's very
important. I really want
to
do a reel about critical thinking too. I've been thinking about it for so long.
Amazing point. Critical thinking is so good.
What was the reel? What did you say?
I was telling a simple definition of critical thinking, that when we hear a point, we need to do some research about that, have some responsibility, don't share the news, and think about both perspective as well. Maybe you have a difference of opinion.
And don't always look for the flaw in an argument.
Yeah.
I feel like people just sit and they're like waiting to hear something to get mad about instead of trying to learn and be understanding of context.
So good.
Yeah.
True. So yeah, similarities?
Similarities. I just think of them as different countries. Like in my head, they're so different. I feel like Pakistan is like the chill place. Pakistan is like the chill, the nature, the less crowded. I think of India as like the high energy, the
high energy in work.
No, not in work. Like I think of Pakistan as slow moving, and I think of India as fast moving. Like when I think of the places, I think of Pakistan as like a more relaxed place, and India is like
relaxed in what way?
Even just like the pace of life. Like even the pace of life, even the amount of people on the streets, right? Like I don't feel so crowded on the streets. Whereas in India, I feel very crowded. Like I feel like Pakistan feels bigger because it's less crowded. I feel like there's more space around me. Whereas in India, I feel more closed in because there's usually so many buildings and so many people everywhere, right?
The difference was crowd. And that's very interesting because I've never been to India. I want to. My ancestors are from Delhi, and it's such one of the biggest dream of my life to visit that home, inshallah, very soon. But I just wanted to hear your opinion about that, and that's very interesting.
Yeah.
In my opinion, if you ask me, India and Pakistan, what is the difference? I don't really talk about differences in that way, in a negative way. Most of the time I talk about the similarities because I have this very clear statement about that Hindi and Urdu are the same languages, and people get triggered about that because I'm doing a lot of research about that. Me and my father, it is my father's research basically. Since a lot of years we've been doing this research about the language, and we are tracing the whole language and all the words and all these things, and we actually came up with this conclusion that these both languages are exactly same.
I guess what I find interesting about this whole India, Pakistan, love-hate thing that you guys have going on is, I could be wrong, but I feel like I don't think of India and then I don't think of Pakistan. I just think of like individual people. Like every country is just full of individual people. Like, so sure, they might have some cultures in common or some foods in common or some language in common, but like, who cares? Like, it's literally just different people. And within the people, some people are like, you're from Pakistan. I'm from USA/Israel, kind of. And like, you can cut that if you want. And
I'm not going to cut that.
Okay.
I'm not going to cut that.
And we are like the same type of people.
Yeah.
We don't need to both be from Pakistan to like each other and to get along and to, have things in common. Like, so I feel like people are overthinking, like India, Pakistan, like it's not a competition. Like the point that you guys are competing shows how similar you are. Like if you were so different, if it's, nobody's going like Papua New Guinea versus Pakistan.
That is a very good point. It tells a lot about when you have this sort of competition, then somewhere you have the love, and somewhere you think that we are same, right?
It's like siblings. They're just
Exactly.
like, you know, but you're siblings, you know?
That's a very good statement. Beautiful point.
Yeah.
And right now, these days, since a lot of months, even years, but right now I'm actually talking about these things very seriously, because I'm kind of being an advocate about Indo-Pak peace, and I personally think it should happen as soon as we can. Both of the countries should bend their egos. Both of the countries' government should bend their egos, and it's a very controversial statement I'm making.
Yeah.
But I don't believe it's controversial. I believe that it should happen.
Yeah.
And when it comes to people, we are not talking about governments. People to people, we have a lot of love.
Yeah.
A lot of love. We have the same kind of languages are same. The food, especially, which unites us.
Yeah.
Sports, cricket.
Yeah,
unites us.
sports. Yeah.
Oh my God, we both love cricket a lot. And music as well. So many similarities, and we have the same kind of abuses as well.
Yeah, the same issues.
Same issues and all these things.
Same issues, yeah.
So yeah, same issues, same things. Yeah. So I think it's very important for us to talk at least, because we are same. We've been together since thousands of years.
Yeah.
On this whole place.
Yeah.
It's time to talk.
It's such a shame, but that's how humans are. Especially like leaders and politicians, they love to create problems. They love to like do what's best for them only and not care about
the people.
And it's like so funny how they end up being in charge. It doesn't make sense, but
yeah. And the ego, oh my God, it's everywhere.
I mean, it takes a big ego to get to the top, you know? And so I feel like that's why often, like, especially historically, a lot of world leaders are problematic. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, exactly.